Cirque Eloize makes its fourth appearance at Penn State's Eisenhower Auditorium in a production called Cirkopolis. Dance, music, theater, and circus meet in an urban universe inspired by the films Metropolis and Brazil. Cirque Eloize, which previously performed the shows Rain and ID at the Center for the Performing Arts, dives into an imaginary world that pushes the boundaries of visual and audio innovation. PreViews editor John Mark Rafacz speaks with Jeannot Painchaud, Cirque Eloize artistic director and Cirkopolis co-director, about the production. Painchaud describes Cirkopolis and the new routines developed for it. He also talks about collaborating with Cirkopolis co-director and choreographer Dave St-Pierre.
So tell me a little bit about Cirkopolis. This is a departure from what you did in ID.
I like to explore different genres. I like to... I'm a lot about meeting with people and with creators from other areas in order to challenge ourselves, to challenge acrobatics. And so this time I start from, again, the theme of the identity, but from a point of view of a single character. And some influence, strong influence, like Brazil, a movie Brazil from Terry Gilliam's, Metropolis, the movie, Kafka, as for the main character. First time also that a big focus around this main character, presence of the video projection. So the idea was to put this character in the center of the gray city, in some sort of a totalitarian world, where he will contaminate the city by his poetry, by his folly, craziness, and he's falling into a dream where everybody's strange, everybody work and gray and so on, and really dynamic, and that's why I've been asking Dave St-Pierre, very renowned choreographer here. I wanted him for his energy and his strong poetry, and his way to work with the artists, because he pushed his dancers really far. And working with circus artists for a choreographer, it's a gift, because circus artists are giving themselves, and they're hard with their body, and they like to work hard, let's say. And as for the group work, it was something really interesting. And so we start with that. So the character lost in that city, and you follow his journey for sure through a lot of classical acrobatic things and lots of new way of doing the acrobatics. For instance, the German wheel, doing that by a group of men. Never seen something like that before. We are trying to reinvent also the way we present the acrobatics. For instance, the contortionist is doing contortion of a group of men, never touched the floor. Things like that, a lot with the dance. So there's a lot of dance in that show.
This is Dave St-Pierre's first time as a co-director, isn't it?
He used to direct his own show as a choreographer.
Right. But the first time with Cirque Eloize.
Yes.
How does that work with you directing with someone else? There's obviously got to be a lot of give and take.
There is, absolutely. Because when you go and ask for a strong creator to be with you, you have to accept for sure a part of his vision. But working with a choreographer was for sure for the aesthetic and for the quality of the movement. So that was clear from the top that was what I was looking for. But I didn't want to do the same style of show that he's doing. Then he had to accept that when it comes to Cirque Eloize, has certain parameters where he wants to evolve a certain way. He wants to touch the audience, and that was my part to protect that. But it's for sure putting two creators together. It's always a challenge, always as you say, give and take, and but we find our way, and we're really proud of the show.
I know that you mentioned that the classic films Metropolis and Brazil were an inspiration, and those are certainly both very dystopian films. They take a fairly dark, although in Brazil a rather humorous approach to dystopian worlds.
In terms of typically dance, more Metropolis than Brazil. Brazil is for the clownesque side, I will say, of the character and the humor of the show, and the the idea of being in a strange world for the main character is really inspiring for Ashley. You know, the main character is Ashley, the same actor, acrobat that we had in Rain. It's the same person, yeah. Many
of our audience members will remember that we also presented Rain before ID. So
and a lot of people notice about and it's funny because you have a vision, you know pretty much where you want to go, but at the end, that's always during the process, you find jewels, and at the end, what we discovered that it's funny because with Cirkopolis, we're somewhere in between Rain and ID in terms of work with dancers and energy, but with the sensibility of because we choose 12 young artists with a strong sensibility also for that. And that's where it's interesting. People will notice that we're somewhere in between those two shows in terms of presence of the artist on stage.
A lot of the inspiration and a lot of the imagery certainly sounds like it can be sort of dour and almost depressing, but you mentioned that there's certainly an undercurrent of humor in the show. Is it difficult to find that balance of, drama and humor?
The drama is more in the aesthetics. It's a challenge to find it, but it's difficult. No, it goes with, you have to stick with your ideas, and I think the way people evolve on stage, the way they play the character, that's the key. And also, there's a lot of little moments, clueless moments, where you laugh and where you smile. So the show is much more touching than anything else, actually, because what could be sound like depressive world is more like to fix the action and to start from really the idea of how important it is to be yourself sometime in a strange world, and how you have to listen your inner child and go with your art. And that's where's my goal, not to oppose that depressing world, but to fight against them, to give place to a human being.
What is the runtime of the show? How long is it?
It's an hour and 25 minutes, no intermission.
Was the choice of no intermission because it would break the continuity, or?
Yes, because this type of universe, I wanted the people to stay in that world like you would dive in your dreams, and just when you wake up, it's finished.
Cirque Eloize performed Cirkopolis September 27, 2013 at Penn State's Eisenhower Auditorium. For tickets or information, visit cpa.psu.edu or phone 1-800-ARTS-TIX.